Long before travel influencers discovered lists, ancient Greek writers created the ultimate sightseeing guide. They described monuments so impressive that travelers needed to see them before dying, assuming the journey itself did not kill them first. These became the 7 wonders of the ancient world. Of course, the world had suspiciously convenient borders. The list covered places that Greek travelers knew around the Mediterranean and the Middle East. A global ranking assembled by people who had visited a fraction of the globe. Strong methodology. 6 eventually disappeared. 1 remains standing. Another may have had the useful advantage of never existing where ancient writers placed it. We begin with the one that refused to leave. Number 7, the Great Pyramid of Giza. Egyptian workers built the Great Pyramid around 2560 BC as a royal tomb for Pharaoh Khufu. It originally reached about 146 meters and remained the tallest human-made structure on Earth for close to 4,000 years. Builders covered the core with smooth white limestone casing stones. Earthquakes loosened stones, while later builders removed many of them for construction projects in Cairo. Because apparently a 4,000-year-old wonder also counts as a convenient hardware store. It has endured political collapse, earthquakes, grave robbers, pollution, tourists, and thousands of documentaries asking whether aliens built it. After more than 4,500 years, the Great Pyramid still stands. Modern apartment buildings should avoid making eye contact. Number 6, the Temple of Artemis. The Temple of Artemis stood at Ephesus, in what is now Western Turkey. Ancient builders created a vast marble sanctuary dedicated to Artemis. Then, in 356 BC, a man named Herostratus set it on fire. According to ancient accounts, he wanted fame. The authorities executed him and banned anyone from speaking his name. You can see how well that worked. The Ephesians rebuilt the temple on an even grander scale. It survived for centuries before Gothic raiders attacked Ephesus during the 3rd century AD. Religious and political changes weakened the cult of Artemis, and local builders reused its stone. By the Christian Byzantine period, the sanctuary had become a quarry with an impressive backstory. Archaeologists reconstructed one lonely column from surviving pieces. Herostratus wanted people to remember his name. The temple deserved better publicity. Number 5, the Statue of Zeus at Olympia. Around 435 BC, the sculptor Phidias created a colossal seated statue of Zeus for the god's temple at Olympia. The wooden core supported plates of ivory and gold. The statue stood about 12 meters high. Ancient writers claimed that if Zeus stood up, his head would break through the roof. Nothing communicates divine majesty like a building that underestimated its tenant. Christian emperors restricted pagan worship, and authorities closed the sanctuary at Olympia. A later tradition claims that owners moved the statue to Constantinople, where a palace fire destroyed it during the 5th century AD. Historians question that account. Gold could be melted, ivory could decay or burn. No confirmed fragment of the statue remains. We just cannot say where Zeus spent his final day. For the king of the gods, the departure paperwork was terrible. Number 4, the Mausoleum at Halicarnassus. The mausoleum stood at Halicarnassus, now Bodrum in modern Turkey. Artemisia II commissioned it during the 4th century BC as a monumental tomb for Mausolus, ruler of Caria and also her husband. He was also her brother. Ancient royal families treated family trees more like circles. Sculptors covered the structure with statues and battle scenes. The monument became so famous that the ruler's name gave us the word mausoleum. Earthquakes damaged the structure during the medieval period. Then the Knights of St. John arrived. They built and fortified Bodrum Castle using stones from the ruined mausoleum. Ancient engineering met medieval recycling. Some sculptures and reliefs survived. Archaeologists later recovered them, and the British Museum now displays many of the best-known pieces. The mausoleum did not vanish. It changed careers and became a fortress. Number 3, the Colossus of Rhodes. The Colossus stood on the Greek island of Rhodes. After surviving a major siege, the Rhodians sold abandoned enemy equipment and used the money to build a colossal bronze statue of Helios, their patron sun god. The sculptor Charis of Lindos completed the statue around 280 BC. Later artists imagined Helios standing with one foot on each side of the harbor entrance, while ships passed between his legs. Ancient sources provide no evidence for that pose. Engineering also has several objections. The Colossus probably stood on solid ground near the harbor, which offers less drama but far fewer catastrophic balance issues. Then, around 226 BC, an earthquake struck Rhodes. The statue broke near the knees and collapsed. It had stood for little more than 50 years. The Great Pyramid was already more than 2,000 years old and had to watch the new employee fall during orientation. Its enormous remains stayed on the ground for centuries, where travelers continued to admire the broken fingers and limbs. The Colossus spent around 50 years standing and several centuries lying down. Many careers have followed the same pattern. Number 2. The Lighthouse of Alexandria. The Lighthouse of Alexandria stood on the island of Pharos, beside the Egyptian city's harbor. The Ptolemaic rulers built it during the 3rd century BC. The structure became so famous that Pharos developed into the word for lighthouse in several languages. That is an impressive legacy for a building whose main job was telling sailors where the rocks were. The lighthouse survived for more than 1,000 years. Earthquakes damaged it in stages, with major shocks striking the region during the 10th and 14th centuries. During the 15th century, Sultan Qaitbay built a fortress on the same site. Builders reused stones associated with the ruined lighthouse. Once again, medieval construction workers encountered an ancient wonder and saw free building materials. Pharaoh spent centuries guiding ships away from danger. The earthquakes remained unimpressed. Number 1. The Hanging Gardens of Babylon. Ancient writers described a terraced garden rising above Babylon, near the Euphrates River in modern Iraq. Later tradition credited King Nebuchadnezzar II with building the gardens for his wife, who supposedly missed the green mountains of her homeland. Romantic, expensive, and suspiciously perfect. The problem begins with Babylon's own records. Nebuchadnezzar left detailed inscriptions describing palaces, temples, walls, and construction projects. None provides a clear description of the Hanging Gardens. One theory argues that the gardens never existed and grew from literary descriptions of an ideal Eastern palace. Another places them at Nineveh, hundreds of kilometers north of Babylon. The Assyrian king Sennacherib described vast gardens, aqueducts, and water-lifting systems at Nineveh. Later writers may have confused Babylon with Nineveh, Nebuchadnezzar with Sennacherib, or several royal gardens with one legendary monument. The other wonders left foundations, fragments, or reused stones. The Hanging Gardens left a description and refused to provide an address. That may be the most impressive disappearing act on the entire list. The 7 wonders did not disappear in one dramatic collapse. Earthquakes destroyed the Colossus and weakened the Mausoleum and Lighthouse. Fire attacked the Temple of Artemis. Religious change and neglect helped erase the Statue of Zeus. Builders reused ancient stones whenever a convenient ruin appeared nearby. The Great Pyramid survived because removing an entire mountain of masonry requires a level of commitment that even history could not maintain. Ancient writers created a travel list. Time turned it into a catalog of destruction, recycling, and one very stubborn pyramid.